morning, everybody, and welcome to another Nacho Tuesday. And today I have Gavin here with Speedsize. And without further ado, we'd love if you could introduce yourself and what you guys do over there.
Yeah, hi. I'm Gavin. I'm a VP of Partnership at Speedsize. And Speedsize is basically an AI-based CDN. And we basically have one product which has two pieces. The first piece is what we call psycho-visual compression, which is the ability to compress files by removing non-visual data from the files. That would be video and imagery. And in that case, we can reduce the size of files without losing any quality by up to 90%. So now you have smaller files on one side. And the other thing we do is intelligent edge delivery, which means we have AI on the edge, which detects what device and what resolution of that device the particular piece of content is going to, and it delivers only the perfectly formatted piece of content to that device. What that basically means is we can load media between 5 and 10 times faster. So you've got smaller files loading between 5 and 10 times faster, which means you have faster loading websites, better SEO, price reduction for folks that are streaming the content, and a better user experience. So that's basically what Speedsize has done. The company's been around for about 6 years. Our target audience is large retailers and brands. We also do a bit with ad tech because, as you can imagine, if you're an ad agency and you're streaming thousands and thousands of.
What got you into getting involved with Speedsize?
Well, I was been around for I was in film and television for a long time. I worked in California for a while, came to Israel where the company's based, and worked in film and television here, and then started working in company. And when I was looking for another challenge, I was looking for, my priority at this point was to find a really, really solid technology. Because sometimes, in the world of startups, you have a lot of startups that make a lot of noise and then they kind of go away, or you're kind of selling something you don't really have. And the reason why I was so interested in Speedsize is when I saw the technology, I saw it actually works. Clients are actually using it. And when you do compare it to the results of the other folks in the industry, you do see that from a quality and speed point of view, it really has actually the best technology. So I was attracted to the technology, I was attracted to the team, and it was kind of a natural progression from those like media related startups that I've worked in for the last 15 years.
Wow. Yeah, you see a lot of companies that are kind of me tees out there. This one, I definitely recognize as something that's relatively unique. And we run a SaaS marketplace, so we see a lot of stuff. So it's been great to come across you guys. I guess what are some of the biggest challenges that e-commerce brands are having in 2025 and beyond, do you believe?
Well, obviously, people's attention span's a problem, right? So you want to make sure that you're engaging them quickly, right? Which is why site speed is so important, right? But more than that, I think that there's always a tension between having high quality, excellent content on a website and slowing the website down. So there's internally inside of brands or even agencies, right? There's this battle between two sides of the shop. One side wants it to be super quick and super efficient, and the other side wants it to be engaging, and it wants to be lush and rich and creative. And we find very often that the folks who want it to be quicker win over the folks who want to have that kind of higher level user experience, right? And so with solutions like ours, and there are other solutions out there that do similar things, right? If you can actually enable that high quality content to go to provide a good user experience, then you're solving a big problem. And really, pretty much every company I talk to, they all say to me, oh, site speed is a priority. Site speed is a priority. So talking about only what I know and what I can actually speak on intelligently, there is that problem in most shops that we talk to. And that's why, our solution, there are other solutions out there, but that's why our solution is compelling, because it, once you decrease the site speed, it directly affects user experience and conversion. So, it's a big deal.
Yep, absolutely. Do you see a difference between desktop performance and mobile performance? I always feel like mobile devices they tend to, like the internet tends to move a little bit slower on mobile devices, especially if you're on a mobile network as opposed to being on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think what we try and do is look at everything through a mobile lens these days, even though like I do 900% more on my desktop than I do on phones. I know my kids, they're on the phone the whole time, right? So mobile is the number one priority, right? And getting the right format to all of the different formats of mobile phones is hugely important, right? So mobile is the number one priority, and getting the right formats of any kind of media to the mobile device is, yes, absolutely. That is crucial for device performance. I mean, even in the video game world, right? I worked for a video game company for a while, right? If you don't get it right, the phones heat up and batteries melt and all sorts of stuff, right? So in any event, you have to make sure that you're getting the right format of stuff to mobile phones, and that has to be a priority.
Yep. So I guess how does website speed impact conversion rates? Like, what have you seen in the past, like the before and after difference between companies that maybe didn't use Speedsize and then switched over to Speedsize? What kind of results did you guys see there?
Look, final conversion, cash money is a little bit down the funnel from where we are, right? But we have done a couple of third-party case studies, and I can't mention the name of the company, but I will tell you that one of the companies that we engaged with had a 13% boost in average cart value.
Wow.
After they optimized their site speed, right?
That's a lot of money, especially at scale.
Right, and obviously, and we, in a professional sense, we don't promise those results, right? We promise only what we can definitely do, which is, speed, quality, and a price reduction. It's important. I haven't mentioned it yet, Andy. It's important that everything we do enables us to actually keep 100% original quality, right? Yep. So I was just talking to our CEO today, and he said, people come for the speed and stay for the quality, right? Yep. So once they've seen that their site's functioning right, their priority switches to, hey, let's see the threads, let's see the textures, let's really see the quality, right? So it's interesting. I was glossing over the fact that quality ends up being the number one priority.
Yeah, it always is. But yeah, you got to get your foundation right first, right? So you got to make sure that your images and that content's actually loading properly, and you're not losing out on the experience, the good shopping experience that you want to be able to provide people.
Well, also, let me just, interrupt Andy just for 1 second. Also, it really does affect SEO, right? It affects Google search results. You can see on the Google Core Web Vitals, which is one of the statistics we look at a lot, right? If your site's functioning slower, then people aren't finding it either, which means you're losing all that potential eyeballs. And I assume that if you're paying a marketing company to generate leads for you and you're not functioning well in SEO, then there's a bunch of stuff there that's going to get very clunky and very expensive. So we want to make sure that those Core Web Vitals are not affected by slow or badly formatted content.
Yep, that's a great point. I'd love to learn a little bit more about the magic behind the scenes. I mean, whatever you can actually share, actually. I'd love to understand more about how the AI-powered CDN optimization really works. Like, what does it look for? Like, how does it optimize the whole process?
So I'd love to be able to dive into the technology for you, but let me tell you to the level of the understanding that I have.
Yeah, right? Keep it high level. Most people would probably want the high level pitch anyway.
So a standard CDN delivers specific formats, okay? And when they're doing media optimization or compression, they take a photograph and they compress the entire photograph in exactly the same way, right? What the AI allows us to do is compress different pixels differently. So it can detect each pixel and compress each pixel in a slightly different way.
Wow.
So that is like, that's the magic. By the way, that is magic, and that is the magic, right? So instead of for example, I'll give you an example, a white background, right? A white background might not even require any compression at all, whereas the threads on the side of the Nike have to be very, very specifically compressed in order not to lose the quality, right? So that's really the magic of the compression, understanding, if you like, intelligently, right, what each pixel is and how to compress it perfectly. But then the other side that I mentioned to you also, which is delivering the right resolution to the right device, you would be shocked at how many large brands are delivering massive high resolution images to small mobile devices, right? And so we use AI at the edge, as I mentioned at the beginning, to detect the device, to detect the resolution of the device, and to make sure that the optimal resolution gets to the device. So we're using AI in two ways, in the compression optimization and in delivery.
Oh, that's really simple but genius.
Well, yeah, it wasn't me who invented it, so yes, I think it really is pretty quite smart. Yeah.
Well, you definitely have a good understanding of it, so it was a good pitch.
Thanks, Rob.
I guess, what are some of the future e-commerce trends that you see coming up over the next year or two, especially when it comes to AI powered tools and content delivery?
I'm going to punt that, but I'm going to tell you what I think in terms of trends in e-commerce. Okay, and I think I always kind of believe it. I always look to Asia to see what they're doing, and I think live shopping. Right, live shopping, live commerce, that kind of thing is going to get bigger and bigger. TikTok have a live shopping application. Amazon are doing a live shopping application. I think live shopping is going to grow very, very rapidly. With regard to 3D immersive experiences, which is kind of another area of expertise I have, I actually think that we may end up seeing a little bit less of that.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think that brands and retailers have started to invest more in the core kind of technology, the technology that enables online retail to work better. By the way, that would include a Speedsize, but that includes a bunch of other things. So less bells and whistles and more, how do we make it easier for a customer to buy something, right? I think with regard to 3D, when 3D will become more ubiquitous, in my opinion, is when generative AI becomes so good that you can actually create 3D content at scale. Because the problem is, when you have human beings creating 3D content, it takes way too long and it's much too expensive to create tens of thousands of 3D images, right? But when generative AI does it, or does 99% of it, and the large retailers can actually do their entire line in 3D, then you'll see more 3D. But in general, I think those are the things that I could speak intelligently about. The other stuff's probably less.
Yeah, I've seen definitely a big rise in online, like the live shopping experiences. So brands working with even influencers or creators to kind of do live shopping shows, with what they have in inventory. But
well, that's interesting. That's actually interesting. And now you mention it, it's almost a little like we're democratizing sales, right? We're basically saying the person you most like or most want to listen to is the person who's going to recommend you to buy stuff, right? And we all know, and you can see on Amazon, where the reviews are so important, right? Reviews are like the most important thing on Amazon. There are suites of technology to have reviews, review reviews, optimize reviews. So in a way, what you're talking about is really this kind of not just personal shopping, but personal commerce, right? Is you want to buy from the people you want to buy from. And so instead of having one Banana Republic, right, you have 1,000 people who are selling to different verticals of the community in
Yep.
their own language. I think that's actually really exciting, Andy.
Yep, and then they have a lot of their own brand partnerships and whatnot, and they give you that more immersive shopping experience too, right? So instead of you having
Yes.
to go to the store and really try to figure it out yourself, maybe you might go in there with a little bit more understanding and intent for like what you actually want to get because you saw this experience online with somebody shopping and showing the product up close and explaining it in detail.
Yeah, I think that's right. I do think that I got to believe that people want to get out of their houses. I really do.
Yep.
But they will make more informed shopping decisions and they'll shop with more intention, I think.
Yep.
Right? They know what they want, they know where it is, and they want to go get it.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. I'd love to also touch on, what are your thoughts on like maybe we can talk a little bit more about like maybe the virtual shopping and kind of where that might end up going, especially as AI starts to play more of a role to it. Whereas maybe you could try on fashion, and like a virtual world or something before you actually go buy it. What are your thoughts on where that's going to go in the future?
Well, I have a vision for what it'll be in the future, and it's not there yet.
Yeah.
Virtual try-on is, well, the last time I really dealt with it was over a year ago, but virtual try-on has never really been, it's never been efficient for anything other than glasses and watches and shoes. Okay. Yep. So glasses, watches, and shoes, you can do really nice virtual try-on. And for glasses, you can actually more or less size them. Okay. Because think about that from a dynamics point of view. Glasses are rigid, which means that once they sit on your face, and Warby Parker has it, Amazon has it, right? And you can move around, you get a pretty good idea. But even with virtual try-on for shoes, there's no way you'll know what the size is. And that's the big issue with virtual try-on, right? The big issue with virtual try-on is size and fit. No one's cracked that yet, okay? And by the way, the company that does crack that is gonna clean up, right? What I actually think, if you want to like play this forward however many years, you will go into a store and stand in front of a window, a mirror, and you will select the items that you want and you will try them on in a virtual way, right? So you'll stand there and you'll see them and you'll see the fabric move and you'll be able to see how it shapes on your body. And then you'll order it from the store and it will arrive in your house. And what they will have in the store probably is like 1 or 2 items of that specific thing so you can feel the fabric and see the actual color. But the size and fit will be done virtually and you won't have to go into change rooms and things like that in order to get changed. But Andy, the technology's not there yet.
Yep. Well, you're talking about some really futuristic stuff. I like it. Yeah, I definitely think there's an opportunity there in the future, and whoever cracks that code's gonna do really well. Maybe it's you guys. The next extension of your product, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess failure comes with any profession. Can you tell us about a time where maybe you failed and what you learned from it?
Well,
tough questions, but they're always the most interesting stories usually.
I was thinking about that. I lose things all the time. I'll tell you a fun. Can I tell you that story? I'll
maybe offline. Just kidding.
No, well, I used to. I'll tell you a funny story.
Yep, go for it.
I used to record. I used to direct voice talent for animated feature films.
Yep.
And I flew one time from Israel to Hollywood to record a very, very well-known actor.
Yep.
And let's just say that the actor arrived in not completely ready for work. And we had this guy for 4 hours, and I did my best. And when I got back and I played the recording for our producer, he said to me, Gavin, you just wasted $50,000. Well done.
And you're like, it's not my
So,
fault.
well, I know, but yes. So that was a good one.
Have you found like the voice actors or just as difficult as the live actors, or a lot of them are kind of play similar, multiple roles, of course. Some do the voice and live acting, but
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I'll tell you something. My experience has been that actors love doing voice work.
yeah.
And the reason is, first of all, you can, according to union rules, you only have them for 4 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they arrive in jeans and t-shirts. They don't have to put on makeup. They don't have to put on costumes. They don't have to wait for the lights and the cameras and everything. They walk in, they stand opposite the microphone, they have a cup of coffee, they do their stuff, they walk out, they get paid, and they have fun. They enjoy it, right? And so my experience with voice acting has actually been that they love it. And I'll tell you something else, and this is actually a sad truth, but it's something that I learned after auditioning thousands and thousands of voice talents.
Yep.
There's a reason why an Academy Award winning actor is an Academy Award winning actor. And when you can hear it, when you hear the difference between the voiceover talent you use for the temp tracks and the voiceover talent you use for the real thing, you could close your eyes and you could know that's a very, very good amateur, but that is, take your pick, Mel Gibson, right? It's subtle, but there's no comparison.
Yep. Yeah, it's really timely, actually, considering the Oscars were was it last night or the night before? I don't really know. Yeah, last night. Yeah, so it's really timely. What do you think about the future of I know we're getting a little off topic here, but this is interesting.
Happy to talk about anything.
What do you think about the future of maybe artificially generated videos and images for use in production? Maybe where do you see actors playing a role in the future? Maybe if they could be artificially made. Do you still see a big role for them, or?
Well, I mean, I think wasn't that what the last actors and writers strike was about in Hollywood? I'd be worried. I mean, I'd be worried. They're not going to replace actors in theater, right? So you're not going to go and see a virtual play of Hamlet. With regard to film, it's interesting. I'll tell you that every type of technology, creative technology that came up, everyone thought they were going to lose all of their jobs, right? So I started in digital editing at the very beginning when there was no editing of audio on a computer. You were cutting film, right? Yep. And I actually saw that whole industry begin, and people thought film editors were going to be, lost, and they were not. Yep. This is different. I actually think probably in the end, you're going to have different types of movies. You're going to go to see, like we go today to see 3D animation.
Yep.
You'll go to see a movie which is all AI, which is essentially 3D animation.
Yep.
Or you'll go to see a movie that's organically created, right?
Yep.
And I think that there'll probably be a division. There'll be some movies that you'll go and you'll see a combination, right? But I think human beings want to see human beings.
Yeah, I agree.
think in the end of the day, you're going to want to know that you went to a movie and that was the guy you saw, that was the woman you saw. So I think it'll be probably a bit of a division. I think where it becomes much more dangerous is with news.
Yep.
And with the manipulation of the media, right? And that's a whole nother topic which goes on forever, right? But I did hear, I think it was Mark Andreessen's talking about it. And he said probably what will happen in the future is all of those pieces of news will live on the blockchain. And the identifier, which will identify something as coming from, a reliable, well-known professional news source, will have a key on the blockchain. So you'll actually know what has come from official channels and what hasn't. I think that piece of it is going to be very, very scary. And I'm not 100% sure what. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to technologyize us out of it. We're going to have detectors, and we're going to have protection, and it'll go from cybersecurity to like AI security, and we'll figure that out. But initially, it's a bit of a worry.
That's always interesting, yeah, just to see how we address that issue. I mean, you're already seeing a lot of deep fake videos right now, and a lot of them are done in the form of memes, which are kind of funny. But there's also like a nefarious angle potentially too, right? Like
Sure.
somebody quote unquote saying something when they didn't could start a war, for instance, or tank a stock, whatever way you slice and dice it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out, and how we maintain that level of transparency.
Right. On one hand, anyone can create compelling content today, right, and deliver it efficiently and quickly and what have you, right, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's a responsibility for certain types of content that influence people, and how do we, control that without, impinging on people's ability to create and freedom of speech and all that stuff. But we are way off topic there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the future is amazing. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all this stuff plays out. But yeah, I could see the actor situation being, maybe similar to how CGI affected things, right? So maybe you don't need like 1,000, if you're doing like a war scene and Ben-Hur from like what is that, the 60s, you don't need like thousands of like stand-ins, I guess. You could just have like a bunch of CGI for that. But like the main actors, everybody's going to want to go see the main people, right? Then the main supporting actors too.
Right, but acting's going to get a lot less fun, because they're not going to send you off to Paris or to Venice to shoot the scene. They're just going to put you in a green screen, and
unless you're Tom Cruise, he insists on it.
Yeah, because he's right. Yeah, it's right though. Yeah,
exactly. That's the real art right there, I guess. There's still some true artists that exist.
Yeah.
So I guess anything else that you want potential customers to know about Speedsize and why they should pick your platform up today?
Yeah, I will say what I haven't said is that there's basically no integration. So it's not to get too technical, but every file in the internet lives on a CDN in the cloud somewhere, and it has a URL. And all of our integration is we add a small factor to that URL, which points it to Speedsize. So there's literally no integration. We have plugins for all the major e-commerce platforms. So Shopify and WooCommerce and BigCommerce and all that kind of stuff. So in terms of, is this a headache to do? Is this a headache to use? No, it's not. And the other thing, which I think is really important, is that you see the results immediately. So once, like literally within a day, you see the results. So that's pretty cool.
And where can people learn more about Speedsize?
Speedsize.com.
Speedsize.com. Easy enough for everyone. And you could also pick it up today in the NachoNacho B2B SaaS marketplace too. We have a pretty good discount there, depending on the plan, upwards of 70% discount. So there's really no reason. You're pretty much, if you have an e-commerce store, you're losing money by not optimizing your store to have faster loading speeds and a better experience overall for your customers. And I got to say, I've been on websites before looking to shop, and I've, especially on my mobile device, which we all know mobile's huge these days. I've been trying to shop for products on somebody's website, and sometimes when you're on a mobile network, it's not always the best, depending on where you're at. And if that site's not loading properly, I'm gone. And I'm saying I'm going to buy from them later, and I put it in the back of my head, and honestly, I forget about it usually, as to most people. So this is definitely something that every e-commerce store owner should have.
What he said.
Awesome. Well, Gavin, always great chatting with you. I love how we went off, off a little bit, off on a tangent, I guess, but like that interesting conversation, especially timely given the Oscars and everything like that too. So I think a lot of good insights, and also some fun backstories came out of this interview. So
thanks very much, Andy. Thanks everybody.
Thank you, Gavin. Take care.
Bye, mate.